Hi, welcome back. So I'm going to try a different approach here for recording. So I want to share with you the reason why I'm wanting you to learn how to draw trees and bonsais, which are miniature trees that are a Japanese art form, how you can learn from these mini trees. They could be 100 years old. Yes, they are stylized sometimes, but it gives you the opportunity to see possibly an outdoor tree in a indoor space or at a botanical conservatory garden, and you can take pictures and study it and then compare these mini trees and what it looks like out in the field. So I found this great book. I forgot I had it. It comes from the bonsai collection of the Chicago Botanical Garden. And what I loved about it is they show these trees without the flowers or leaves, and then they show it in full bloom. So the view may be slightly different. Obviously, the art form can change. They change it by wiring it. But I thought this one was a pretty more simplified tree that could show us possibly the different seasons and what the tree looks like. So it reminds me kind of the pine tree with the curly branches. And of course, the beautiful wisteria falling down. It reminds me of one of my favorite trees, which is the weeping cherry, which I had in front of my Pittsburgh home. But the trunk is kind of gnarly, and in a book or a photograph, it's always great to, be able to use magnifying glasses to see things. And then, of course, when you go out in the field, you have a better understanding of the tree. And I thought it would be fun to actually draw the tree. So I thought it was recording with the image, and it didn't work out so well. So here is a copy of the tree, and it comes from that book that you can purchase if you want to see them. And so, what I like to do is measure. And so, these are called dividers. Many botanical and scientific artists use dividers. And if you've ever measured out in the field, you basically hold this in front of the big tree, right? So, if the tree was up, you can't kind of do it on the screen, but when I'm measuring out in the field, I extend my arm completely straight, close one eye, and then I take the top of the tip of the pencil or ruler or whatever I'm using, and then I would measure the base of the tree, and then I would go to the paper and hash mark it, and I would get that measurement. Now, if this tree is super, super tall, I would take the measurement. Let's say I'm drawing on a smaller piece of paper. This measurement won't fit. Then I cut it in half, and all the proportions change in half. The other thing I like to do is, since this has wider, it's probably wider than vertical here. So you go to the widest spots and measure it. So it's a little bit maybe wider than the trunk of the tree. So I would take, again, either the dividers and measure it from the widest to the widest spot. And then I would mark it on the paper so you can see. And then I probably would take these other horizontal branches and kind of place them on there. I wound up kind of changing some of it, but it gives me a good feel of the way this tree grows. And it grows on the edge or inside of the woodlands. It grows in a light canopy covering. I even saw it kind of growing wild. A lot of people up north where I live in the United States grow wisteria, and it's beautiful. It does grow here, and what I learned about it is it does like sandy ground, which where I live in Florida now, but it likes good drainage, and we have a lot of water. So I could pot it and probably put it out, but I'm having trouble finding the right type of trees. Not too many great trees like to have their feet wet for a long time. So this is great. It had some gnarly holes where probably there was branching. Sometimes the artist will um, cut and wire the branches so they will grow. And then after I drew it with pencil, you can also use a color erase pencil, which is made by Prismacolor, and draw it in, then go over with the pencil lines. And then I like to use my preppy ink pen with a cartridge, a black cartridge that is waterproof, and it's called Carbon. Carbon. Looking for my package to show you it. Uh, I these aren't expensive. It's called Carbon ink cartridges, and all I do is I pop them in. Now you could get if you don't like the plastic, which I prefer it wasn't, but I don't like to use the refillable cartridges unless I need a special ink. These are very portable. I can throw this little pack or one of the cartridges to take with me when I'm outside nature journaling. And then for me, I just do like modified contour drawings and in pencil. And then when I go over it with ink, I can correct it. It's not perfect, but it does give me the feeling of this wisteria. And what I do is I draw some lines on the side of the paper. I did tape around the edges, and then I write information that I can look up on iNaturalist, or I could look in a ID book or a plant book, depending what I'm drawing, and I fill that in. I feel that's important. I'm learning. So what it reminded me of was a pine tree with these curly branches. It's very gnarly and textured. Um, and I didn't say what it reminded me of, but it makes me want to explore it. And then, of course, in the next video, we will draw and paint the steer in bloom. Now, it's not a real clear image, so it will be implied. But what I can do is get some close up of maybe a wisteria plant, and we could kind of zoom in on it, and it will provide you with that information. There are leaves on it, underneath it, and it kind of can go from mauve to like a purple color. Even seems like there might be some white, but it could have been the photography that was taken. So again, the book came from the Chicago Botanic Garden. It must have been an exhibit, and I'm grateful that they took these type of pictures showing again the bonsai tree before it's in bloom and then in bloom. We don't get to always see that. I would never guess that the structure of this tree would look so much and there would be so much of this branching supporting all these beautiful blooms. So I hope you're enjoying this. I hope it's beneficial to learning how to nature journal, how to draw trees, and then, of course, how to paint. So please like and subscribe. It really helps grow and get uh, these videos out there. Also on my Facebook page, which is Elaine Bergstrom, if you do draw some of these, I would love to see it and just post it underneath the images that I'll be posting. And tell me what you're interested in drawing. What's your favorite tree? There's some wonderful resources out there. However, they don't always show all the parts of the tree. So if you love a certain ID book, please let us know. Let's share this information. And I will see you soon with how to paint in watercolors, maybe gouache, and maybe even some of the ink. Um, how to put this to bloom and what we learn about studying this type of mini tree. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you very soon.